Hi class, for my project I decided to do woodwork. Now woodwork is something that I've always been interested in because many of my family members do woodwork just as a fun activity, and I usually just look on without joining in. So I just wanted to learn some more about the logistical parts of creating a project made from wood. Now this project was a lot more challenging than I anticipated in the beginning, but I had lots of fun creating and learning more about woodworking. Now, the first step for my project was creating a basic sketch of what I wanted. With this, I didn't include a picture, but then I gathered all the tools and materials and the equipment that I needed to build the project. Now, in the videos, it shows that I had to mark and cut the boards to the appropriate length. And for this part, this is to make the frame of my bedside table. So I cut the initial wood, and then once I had the desired length, I got the second piece to match it up until I had 4 pieces to form the frame of my table.
Okay.
Yeah. Ready?
Yep. Okay.
The next part would be to attach all 4 pieces of wood together using wood glue and the nail gun. We also used a speed square which is pictured on the left, to make sure that it was a square frame. I allowed the wood glue to dry overnight, and then the next day I started to make the legs. You can see on the videos below that we are cutting the legs to make sure they are the appropriate size, and then sanding down each leg to make sure it's nice and smooth. Once I had all 4 legs sanded, I secured the legs to the frame using nails, wood glue, and clamps, and then I allowed the glue to dry overnight as well.
Okay.
The next steps were to place the 1x3 boards together to create the tabletop. Now once we had them together with glue and clamps, I drew a line to make sure it was even, and then we used the saw to cut it to get a square tabletop. Once we cut that tabletop, then we attached it to our frame. The craft that I decided to make was a bedside table. I wanted to learn more about woodwork and wanted to make an item that would be useful. Many individuals in my family use woodwork as a therapeutic craft, so I was interested to learn more about it. Woodwork was a lot more difficult than I anticipated. My original design was much more complicated than my abilities. I had to have assistance for most of the project, but I'm very satisfied with the end result and proud of my first project. I'd like to continue learning more about woodworking because I like the idea of creating my own furniture. I'm so proud of the turnout of this project because I was able to create a bedside table that is also very functional. I'm proud that I was able to do something new and succeed at it. I have learned so much more about my abilities making this project. The most challenging step for me was actually in the beginning. It was difficult to conceptualize how each individual piece would come together. Once we started building the frame, I was able to see more of how my picture was coming to life. It was also a challenge for me to figure out how to continue the project if I measured a piece that was slightly off. This craft would be beneficial to any client that enjoys using their hands to build or to create. It allows an individual to be more creative. There's not really an age limit of those that can use it. For example, I have a sister who is 18 that enjoys woodworking. If I wanted to grade down this craft, I would buy a kit where all the items are already cut and measured, so all I would have to do was assemble the pieces. Now, if I wanted to grade up this activity, I would add an additional shelf to my table. This would involve more measurements and cutting of more boards.